Hi everyone and welcome to Abacus. My name is Charlotte and I will be taking you through your new expense management platform today for the continuing healthcare team. So we're going to be focusing on how to submit reimbursable expenses. And for reimbursable expenses with Abacus, you will be paid back directly into your bank account in just a couple days. So I'm first going to, before getting into some of the different settings and how to submit an expense, I'll just point your attention to the settings page where you can connect a bank account. So when you first log in, you'll click on Account and Settings, and in your personal settings, you'll click on Bank Account, and here's where you'll go to connect a bank. So if you see the icon of your bank here, you can click on it and log in with your ID and password and connect automatically to your account. You can also connect your bank account manually by clicking this button below and connecting using your routing number and account number. So you'll just type that in and then click Add Account here. And this is, again, the bank account where you will be getting your direct deposit payments for your expense reimbursements. So moving on now to expense submission. So I'm going to pop back open the simulator here. So this is the the mobile app on the iPhone. There's also an Android app, and I definitely encourage all of you to download the app. So this makes it super easy to submit expenses on the go and also capture receipt images if you're out and about. So to orient you here to the three icons at the bottom of the app, this camera icon will allow you to snap pictures of the receipt images. And if you don't have a receipt, but you still need to submit, the continuing healthcare policy is to take a picture of a piece of paper where you've written down I don't have my receipt, or another explanation of why you don't have the actual receipt handy. So please make note of that for your expense policy. If this were the real camera, you would just pop open, snap this button to capture the receipt image like I've done up here. You can also add notes. So I've clicked on this other receipt and I can add a note to it, for the business purpose, whatever that is. And save the note, and then it will be there for me when I am ready to submit. So to submit a new reimbursable expense on the app, you'll go ahead and click this pencil icon down below, and you'll type in the amount. And you can click open this camera, and this will actually, one of the options here will be a camera, and so you can select that, or you can choose from the receipts that you have saved on your phone. Again, these are receipts that I've previously stored in my Abacus account. Or the third option is just choosing from your library on your phone. So you will add a merchant, and we'll try to suggest merchants based on your geographical location. And you can add a note, meeting with the client. You'll add the category. And for you guys, you'll also be adding the department as well as the facility. So these will be your actual facilities. And then you just send it in. And that's all you need to do for reimbursable expenses. You will have specific rules in your account that have to do with the continuing healthcare, which I'll get into a little bit later in your receipt policy. But if there is a rule violation, you can go ahead and go back and edit the expense to make sure that all of your expense policies have been, or all of the criteria have been met. So that is how to submit a reimbursable expense on the phone. So I'm going to head over into the web app now, and this is the Real Continuing Healthcare account. So if you go to click a new expense in the top right-hand corner here, here you'll see your categories that are specific to you, as well as the departments and the facilities in your specific account. So you'll be able to select the proper information here. And again, you can choose a receipt that is stored in your account for later. Once you've selected all of the additional information as well as the amount and the merchant, you can just go ahead and send it in. So obviously this is not a real expense, but all you do is fill out everything that you need and click send. So suggested expenses are, I'm going to touch on these next. When you save information in your account in the form of a receipt, we will actually read the information of that receipt and suggest an expense. So I had stored this receipt for Calendly in this account, and we'll create basically a suggestion for you. So we have the receipt image, the vendor, as well as the amount. And then from here, you can also fill in the additional information for the business purpose, the category, the department, and the facility. And by the way, if you're searching for something, you can also start typing and it will narrow down the search results for this facility that you're looking for. And then you just click quick expense and that's it. So this suggested expenses feature makes it really easy to submit your expenses so long as you get into the habit of storing your receipts first. So next, I'm going to talk about receipt capture a little bit more. So as I mentioned earlier, you can always pop open the app and snap a picture of that receipt while you're on the go. On the web, you can navigate to your receipts page here, and you can click this upload receipts button to upload receipt images directly to your account. For email receipts, you can forward your receipts to receipts@abacus.com. And if it's from your continuing healthcare email address, it will be stored on this page in the same way that this Calendly receipt is right here. So definitely get into the habit of forwarding your receipts to receipts@abacus.com and saving them here. You can add a note, and that'll make it a lot faster for you to submit your expenses in the future. This next tab that I want to talk about is trips. So the trips feature allows you to organize your expenses if you're traveling for business, or if there's a certain event and you want to tag all of your expenses with that trip. So in this example, I've created a trip for a conference February 4th through 10th. And to create a trip, you just click this create button and you can add a start and an end date for the trip. And then if I submit an expense within this date range, Feb 4 to 10, I'll just show you here. So if I change the date and it's going to be February within that range, the trip will kind of pop up here and will suggest, okay, is this expense associated with this conference? And if it is, great, you can leave it in. And if not, you can just take it out. So once you submit expenses with that trip, they're organized on this page and you can easily click into them and view all expenses that are associated with that trip. So you can kind of cross-check your work, make sure that you've submitted everything that you need to. So this cards tab allows you to connect a personal card. So if you're going to be submitting expenses, that are using a personal card to incur these expenses, you can connect your card on this page, and that makes it a lot easier to kind of review a feed of those transactions and select the ones to submit. So that is your personal cards. Quickly to just touch on your expense policy here. So This, again, is specific to the continuing healthcare team. So your expenses must have a receipt. As I mentioned before, if you don't have a receipt, just take a picture of a piece of paper where you've written down the reason why you don't have your receipt. You also must select a category, a department, and a facility. So at any point you can double check your policy here. But again, these rules are kind of baked into the system. So if you are forgetting one of these things, Abacus will try to remind you like, hey, please add a department. And you can go back and add that information as you're submitting your expense. So there's no expense data kind of populated here in this account. But again, to show you on the mobile app, this is a test account. When you have submitted expenses, you'll see them in your pending expenses list. And this looks very similar on the web. So you can kind of review them. And you can comment on them, you can add additional receipts, and you can edit the expense date, things like that. And so you'll also get notified once they're approved, and that's how you know that you're going to get paid out. There's one last thing I wanted to show you with the expense submission for reimbursable expenses is the split and itemize button. So let's say you have a $100 expense and it's for a hotel, and part of the hotel invoice is for the room and part of it is for the restaurant. So you can click this split and itemize button and it will automatically split the amount in two, but you can always adjust that if it's 60-40, so long as the total adds up. And then you can say, okay, this was for the hotel and lodging portion, and this was for a meal. So if you do need to split out a single invoice, you can do it by just clicking this split button, and you can continue to add more splits if it's more than two items on the same invoice. So just to stress, Abacus is a bit different than you might be used to. So once you've submitted your expense, that's it, you're done. You don't need to wait and accumulate your expenses into a batch report. Definitely encourage you to submit on the go as you're incurring these expenses. And as soon as they are approved by your admin, you will get an email confirming that they have been approved, and then you will get paid back directly into your bank account. So that is it for how to submit reimbursable expenses. Hopefully this was straightforward. If you have any additional questions, don't hesitate to reach out to our support team at support@abacus.com. You can also chat with us in the lower left-hand corner. There's this chat with us button. So if you have additional questions, we are happy to help. Just let us know. Okay, we hope you enjoy using Abacus. Thanks.